One, one, two, one, two. Yo, what's going on? Could you hear me well? I think we're doing good, right? How about now? How about now? How you doing? How about now? How you doing? How about now? How you doing? Cool. I think we're good. Cool. I think we're good. Cool. I think we're good. All right. Let's see. All right. Cool. Love the setting. Oh, you're here. Okay. Great. 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 So I guess the thought behind this live stream is just okay. There we go. We good. All right. Yeah. The thought behind this live stream is to highlight some of my greatest inspirations as a musician, and it's not just always gonna be musicians. Well, yes, it's always gonna be musicians. I'm probably gonna do another one remembering yeah, not even just musicians, just like influential people that that had a movement, like people that stood for something, like people that I'm inspired by, that I make my music inspired by. So one of the first people for me is Aretha Franklin. I got an Aretha Franklin shrine almost like a mural almost like right here on the side of my studio over here. She's a huge inspiration for me. Jump to It is my favorite album by her. And her music represents a certain time for me and discovering my um just discover going deeper into my music life, my music career in Toronto, going to record stores, learning so much about, guitars, amplifiers, DACs, compressors, EQs, just like when as I was listening to her music, I had like a Qobuz subscription, and I was just doing so much music related stuff where I was just like in that world. I still am, but like in Toronto, I was really just like in that world. So every time I hear music and every time like I listen to Jump to It, it just take me back to them times, you know? And not that I want to go back to those times per se, it's just more that it just helps me to fuel my love for music itself. So, anyways, I want to, just watch this documentary with y'all and just like watch whatever else we can watch. I want to be on stream for at least an hour or so, just breaking down certain shit and just discovering more about her because honestly, I don't know as much about her. I just know I love her music, but I don't know anything more in terms of, how she started. Well, I know she started, but like just I know these artists they have interesting stories which makes them good artists. So I guess let's just get into it. Hey, if you can hear me well, let me know if I sound too scorchy, too blotchy, if the audio isn't good. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get the light setting a little bit better here. I'm just using this window as light. Um because I don't want to use artificial lights, but you know what? I think I should use an artificial light. All right, give me 1 second before we start. If I can find it. This is my little light that I use for most of my setups. Don't know how much help this will do, but we'll see. All right. Let's see how that. It looks just about the same. Let me see. I don't even think I should be obsessing about this so much because it doesn't really matter. Really, right? It gave some more light to that side, so I guess I could sort of stay with that. What if we turn it off? What if we... All right, so what if we turn that off? How do we look now? Yeah, so it's a bit dark, and if I put it back... This is the first of the series, so I'm making sure that as we do this, the whole thing is a lot better so that we can do it easily next time. Okay. I don't think I should care about this so much. We got some sunlight shining through. If it was sunny today, it would be a lot more brighter. And I guess I should do these lights as well. Shout out to you, Andrea. Hope you feel better. Hope you heal up. Guess the light is helping with some ambience. So we change it to that. What about this? I don't think you need the ring light. Okay, that's facts. That's facts. I think we should just start. but yeah, let's just stick with that for now. All right. Make sure you drink some tea. I got my tea as well. And okay, so the last test is gonna be, can we hear the audio from the thing? And if that's good, then we cooking. Right. Okay. All right. Let's just see the heartbreaking true story of about Aretha Franklin. Let's see if we can. If you can't hear, just let me know. All right. Mm. How's that? What y'all think? I just stopped it. I paused it. I'll keep playing. Getting any audio? Yes or no? Can't hear it. Okay. Let's see now. Let me check these sound settings. Input. This right here. And output. I don't know. Okay, let's try this here. What about now? I think we good, right? I can see the levels. I think we good there, right? I can see the levels popping in. I just don't know if it's loud enough or if it's extremely loud or too soft. Let me know how is that for you. What are you thinking? Should I keep going? All right, I'm gonna keep going. I feel like this is AI though. This is not AI. Grunge is a magazine, right? I don't know. It just sounds like AI. Are they using AI for this? Are you fucking kidding me? There's no sound still? Shit, bro. Fuck. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Fuck. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Let me see. I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna keep troubleshooting this until we get it right, and when we get it right, then we'll continue with the stream. Thank you, baby, for your input. I'll just continue working on it until we could get the sound right. Yeah, don't know. Don't know. I know I was able to do this before though. I know there was a point in time I was really good at this. Right? I could do it. But now. hmm. Okay, so if I switch this to this. Okay, just 1 second, right? Let me know if you can hear me when I do this. You might not be able to hear me, but let me know if you can hear the video when I do this. All right? Switch to that. All right. All right. Anything? Anything at all? Anything? Whoa. Okay, you can hear me, right? Can you hear? You can hear me, right? Can you hear this video when I press play? Hold on. Can you hear the video when I press play? 1 second. Hold on. It's going hard now. I need to turn it on. Okay. Are you getting any sound at all? Any whatsoever? Any sound? Are you getting anything? How we doing now? Dadgummit! All right, so I'm just texting my girl. She's watching the stream. So okay, okay. All right, all right, all right. Fuck, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I didn't expect this to happen. Let's see. You can hear me, but you can't hear the video, and that's just awkward. I got everything on the right setting. I think. Right? Huh? Okay, you can hear me. Crisp and clear. It's just the video is not. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. All right, it's cool. You don't have to stick around. I'm just gonna be troubleshooting this thing. So I ain't gonna stop until I get it right. So y'all might as well. Something gotta give, bro. Okay, we got that on full. Got that there. How about now? How we doing now? Wait, did I end it? Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Okay. How was that? Could y'all hear that? Maybe I might have to share my entire screen. Maybe. Also share tab audio. Yes, share tab audio, please. Right? Okay. Let's try it again. You can hear me well. Yes. You can hear me good. Yes. Okay, here we go.
Siggers and
How we
Reverend
doing now?
C.L. Franklin. Aretha Louise Franklin and her family moved to Buffalo, New York briefly before settling down in Detroit, Michigan. Her father had become a Baptist circuit preacher by the age of 18, and in Detroit, he worked as a minister at New Bethel Baptist Church. Franklin's family in Detroit initially consisted of her parents, 2 sisters, a brother, and a half-brother on her mother's side. But after just a few years in Detroit, Siggers ended her relationship with Franklin's father and moved back to Buffalo.
Oh, we good.
Despite the
Oh,
breakup
we
of her parents'
good.
marriage, Franklin continued to see her mother during the summers. And
All right. How's the volume? Is it too loud? Is it too low? What how is it? Okay. All right. Let's just go. Let's just go. All right. I'm gonna start it over. We're gonna watch a few videos. I need to go check on my dogs. I'm gonna have it playing for a second. I'm gonna check on Mono. And then I'm gonna be back, and then we're gonna get jamming, okay? Hopefully we can go until about 12, 12:15, 12:30, and then I'm gonna feed Mono. Um, so yeah, let's just get it started. All right. Yes, finally. Thank you, baby. I love you. All right, cool. So we here, right? Y'all can y'all can hear me good through the mic, which is amazing because we're getting good audio through there. Wait. When I say good audio, I'm talking about good quality audio. I'm going through my microphone into my preamp into my analog compressor. So hopefully my voice is crisp. Yeah? Yeah, can I get a thumbs up if my voice is crisp? Like crisp. Or is it too blotchy? Is it too noisy? Let me know, please. Please let me know. All right. In the meantime, let's play this shit. Here we go.
Siggers often visited the children.
I'm just gonna play it over from the beginning because I wasn't paying attention.
Aretha Franklin was the queen of soul, and her talents knew few limits. No matter what life threw at her, she stayed strong and never apologized. This is the heartbreaking true story of Aretha Franklin. Born in Memphis, Tennessee on March 25, 1942, to Barbara Siggers and Reverend C.L. Franklin, Aretha Louise Franklin and her family moved to Buffalo, New York briefly before settling down in Detroit, Michigan. Her father had become a Baptist circuit preacher by the age of 18, and in Detroit, he worked as a minister at New Bethel Baptist Church. Franklin's family in Detroit initially consisted of her parents, 2 sisters, a brother, and a half-brother on her mother's side. But after just a few years in Detroit, Siggers ended her relationship with Franklin's father and moved back to Buffalo. Despite the breakup of her parents' marriage, Franklin continued to see her mother during the summers, and Siggers often visited the children in Detroit. However, even though Franklin expressed an interest in living with her mother, her father made it clear that that wasn't an option.
Okay, so let me tell you what I've heard. Let me tell you what I've heard from somebody about Aretha Franklin and her life, right? What got me interested was that, okay, yeah, she started out, playing, singing gospel music. She started off with that, and then, um, as a lot of people do, right? And then they graduate onto, different, genres of music and different things, especially when they become famous and popular, so they leave the gospel world. But what's crazy is that, even though I guess her dad or parents were like gospel singers, gospel people, this is what I've heard. I don't know. I can't substantiate this to be true information until I find out from one of these documentaries or, a good source. But I heard she was molested by her dad. So the story is starting to begin where she's spending most of her time with her dad and only seeing her mom during the summers, even though she wanted to stay with her dad. Okay? All right, so let's just keep it going. We'll see where the story leads.
Tragically, in 1952, Siggers died of a heart attack when Franklin was just 10 years old. Both of Aretha Franklin's parents were talented gospel singers, and
Both of them were talented gospel singers, so both of them were in gospel. See, so the story I'm hearing is starting to come together.
Franklin's mother was also a skilled pianist. Her parents' devotion to music gave Franklin an early entrance into the world of gospel singing, and due to her father's role in the church, Franklin joined the choir when she was just a toddler. According to Rolling Stone, Aretha, along with her 2 sisters, Irma and Carolyn, had significant musical talents. However, when a piano teacher was hired for Franklin, she hid from the teacher. Later in her life, Franklin would write, "Learning how to play by ear allowed me to develop a rather personal and signature style, which I treasure and would not give up for anything or anyone."
I didn't study. I play by ear. I don't read music at all.
Reverend C.L. Franklin also exposed his daughter to a variety of music figures, including Smokey Robinson, Clara Ward, and Sam Cooke. In David Rich's
Smokey, we got to do one on Smokey as well.
biography on Franklin, titled Respect, Smokey Robinson recalls meeting Aretha as a young child. When Aretha sat down, even as a 7-year-old, she started playing chords. Big chords. All I could do was view Aretha as a wonder child. In 1956, at the age of 14, Aretha Franklin released Songs of Faith, Aretha Gospel, her very first album. At the same time, Franklin already had a 2-year-old child, Clarence, and in January 1957, she had her second child, Edward. Although she had to drop out of school, Franklin maintains that her family supported her in every way, encouraging her to pursue her musical career. Her sister Irma and her grandmother Rachel helped with raising the children while Franklin was working. And as her father started a gospel caravan, which soon became widely successful, Franklin began touring the country with her father, in addition to singing solos in New Bethel. At one point, Aretha Franklin was introduced to Phil Moore, an arranger and jazz pianist. After playing just a handful of songs, Moore turned to Franklin's father and said, "Aretha does not require my services. Her style has already been developed. Her style is in place. It is a unique style that, in my professional opinion, requires no alteration." Emboldened by this, Franklin's father decided that they should try to get Franklin a spot with Columbia Records, and the meeting with producer John Hammond didn't take long. He signed her immediately, declaring that Franklin was, quote, "an untutored genius," and the best voice he heard since Billie Holiday. Franklin signed on to a 6-year contract.
She does have an amazing voice. That's what I love about her so much. Like she has a gospel voice. It's certain artists that you could tell they start off in gospel. Whitney Houston is another one of them, where like her voice, like that diaphragm, just the way she is heavy. It's a heavy voice. Like it has so much weight to it. Yeah.
During which time she recorded 10 different albums. Her first album with Columbia Records, Aretha, with the Ray Bryant Combo, came out when Franklin was 18 years old. When Aretha Franklin was 18, she met 29-year-old Theodore Ted White, and by the next year, they were married. They had a child together, and White also worked as Franklin's manager. But White sometimes ended up doing more harm than good to Franklin's work. One incident occurred in August 1967. Franklin was supposed to perform as the headliner for the SCLC at the Atlanta Hyatt Regency, but was banned from the hotel only a week earlier after she and Ted got into a physical altercation. Undeterred, Franklin snuck in and ended up singing for 2 hours. Although the only people who know the exact details of their relationship are Franklin and White, there's significant evidence to support the idea that he was abusive towards her.
I've never heard of a healthy relationship between an artist and their manager. Never. Now that I think of it, never. You think about all the people in the past, which I struggle to name right now off the top of my head, but it usually doesn't work out. It usually is an abusive relationship. Even artist producer relationships, they're usually like weird, you know. And that's one of the things I like to say to people is that music is such a thing where you have to have business relationships with people around you, and because it's a creative industry, it's easy to mix in that personal with pleasure, and that's where you get in problems where you think people are your friends when they're not. And just like Drake said, ain't no friends in the industry, bro. So for you to be able to survive and move how you want to move and do what you want to do, and not just that, just have solid people around you. You have to have that boundary of, okay, business is business, we ain't mixing out with pleasure. And so I've had this thing where, I've asked people around me to like manage me because they know me so well, they know my music and this and that. But like, it just because we have a personal relationship, I was like, you know what, I don't think that's a good idea, because if push comes to shove and then we got to do some business and we doing something and somebody's slacking off, then, that's where things, and then it's even more amplified when it comes to relationships, because with managers, it could sort of be like a pimp prostitute relationship, right? But what do I know about that, right? Let's just keep it going. I ain't gonna keep pausing it too much because I want y'all to get knowledge instead of just me ranting and talking.
Including the incident at the Atlanta Hyatt. And according to Jet, when Franklin and White were already divorced in 1970, White was investigated for shooting Charles Cooke, Sam Cooke's brother, who was a guest at Franklin's home, in the groin.
What?
Despite making numerous albums with Columbia Records, Franklin felt as if none of the records she recorded reflected her true self. So when her contract with Columbia expired, Franklin linked up with producer Jerry Wexler and signed with Atlantic Records in 1966. However, working with Atlantic Records had a rough start. According to Songfacts, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You is the only song Franklin recorded in Muscle Shoals, Alabama at the Fame Studios. However, the recording session had to be cut short when her husband Ted White got into a fight with the trumpet player. There are various accounts as to what happened. According to Rolling Stone, White claimed that the trumpeter was using, quote, racist terms. David Hood, who was playing trombone during the incident, claimed that the trumpet player was making remarks to Aretha that were, quote, cool and hip and all that. As detailed in the Rolling Stone piece, Franklin and White were put off by the trumpet player's familiarity. Some in the studio, White included, had been drinking during the session, and the confrontation escalated into a fistfight. Later that night, White also got into a fistfight with producer Rick Hall, who had tried to mediate the situation. Franklin disappeared after that night, but 1 month later she arrived in New York City ready to finish recording. The Muscle Shoals musicians traveled up to record with her. Franklin would repeat the same process for her next 3 albums, with the band members traveling up from Alabama each time to play with her.
So, absolutely, it was a milestone and the turning point in my career.
On February 14th, 1967, Aretha Franklin recorded Respect, which dwarfed Otis Redding's version almost overnight. According to Rolling Stone, Franklin recreated the song from a plea into a demand. In remarking on the song's impact, the publication had this to say: in Franklin's voice, Respect was no longer a man's petition. It was something of a threat that switched gender tables. It was something wholly new. When Wexler played the new version for Redding, he said, "I just lost my song." Respect was released during the long, hot summer of 1967, when protests against racial inequality swept across the United States. Although Franklin has said that she didn't sing the song with politics in mind, she was moved when it naturally became, quote, a battle cry and anthem for a nation. On June 28, 1968, Aretha Franklin was featured on the cover of Time magazine with the tagline, "The Sound of Soul," becoming only the second Black woman to be on the cover of the publication. However, according to Rolling Stone, Franklin was less than
Who was the first Black woman? Who was the first Black woman to become the whatever of Time magazine? Let me see. I'm just curious. On cover of Time. The first Black woman? Naomi Campbell. Wait, what? I don't know. I don't think that's factual information, but let's
pleased with the Inside article's representation of her. Although the piece recognized her talent, Franklin didn't like how it focused on her personal life and marriage. Despite this, Franklin pushed ahead, and many consider her time at Atlantic from 1967 to 1972 to be her golden era. During this time, Franklin was also battling alcoholism, but she continued to record numerous hits. By the end of the 1970s, Franklin had won 10 Grammys. Aretha Franklin was surrounded by activism from a very young age and was always a very socially conscious artist. She toured with Martin Luther King Jr. and along with Harry Belafonte, doing concerts and fundraisers for Reverend Jesse Jackson. And in 1970, she even offered to pay Angela Davis's bail after.
I don't know why I feel like this video. I'm just being distracted by the fact that this video might be AI. Like the voice of this video might be AI. It just sounds too perfect. Is this a real person? If it's a real person, then fuck, they're doing a really good job.
After she was arrested for her supposed involvement in a courtroom shootout.
There's no way. There's no way this is a real person. Just saying. Anyway.
Franklin stated that she would pay for Davis's bail, whether the amount was $100,000 or $250,000. In a 1970 interview with Jet, Franklin explained why she wanted to help Davis's cause. "I'm going to see her free if there is any justice in our courts, not because I believe in communism, but because she's a Black woman and she wants freedom for Black people. I have the money, I got it from Black people, and I want to use it in ways that will help our people."
Wait.
But because she's in a 1970, after she was arrested for her supposed involvement in a courtroom shootout, from a very young age, and was always a very socially conscious artist.
Oh, okay. Who was the Angela Davis? I'm sorry if I don't know. Don't shoot me. I'll find out. I know Asada Shakur. So I thought that's who they were talking about because I lost attention for a little bit. I thought they were talking about Asada Shakur because they mentioned, activism, Black people, communism, all that type of stuff. So I thought that's what she was talking about. But yeah, that's interesting. But okay, I'll let this play and then I'll let y'all know what I think.
She toured with Martin Luther King Jr. and along with Harry Belafonte, doing concerts and fundraisers for Reverend Jesse Jackson. And in 1970, she even offered to pay Angela Davis's bail after she was arrested for her supposed involvement in a courtroom shootout. Franklin stated that she would pay for Davis's bail, whether the amount was $100,000 or $250,000. In a 1970 interview with Jet, Franklin explained why she wanted to help Davis's cause. "I'm going to see her free if there is any justice in our courts, not because I believe in communism, but because she's a Black woman and she wants freedom for Black people. I have the money, I got it from Black people, and I want to use it in ways that will help our people." During the 1970s, Aretha Franklin.
Before they move on, we don't see this no more, bro. because I mean, and I don't want to be this person to be like, oh, the old times is always better than the new times. I think everything has its benefits and drawbacks. I guess a lot of people today, like I guess if Aretha Franklin was still alive, um, she would probably say, she is envious of the artists of today because of the independent, grind. Like you don't have to like sell your masters to a label. You don't have to um like the stuff that you needed back then to be able to make it. You don't need that. You could do it by yourself or with your own team of people around you. Um so that's where it's good in the new stuff. But like because everything is so um numbers based, clout based, and just based on who's hot, who's not, and all kind of stuff. Nowadays, people who get onto that pedestal, like nobody talks about social. Very few people still talks about social. I mean, I mean, come on, Kalani. Certain people like that, like Kalani standing with Palestine, and speaking out against AI. Like you got certain artists that still in that mindset, that frequency, but that's not a common thing anymore. A lot of the artists from back in the day, like when they get put on that pedestal, it's like that's why I feel like that's why a lot of them got assassinated, is because as soon as they get put on that pedestal, they know their leverage. They know people love them. They know they got fans that will ride for them. People like Bob Marley, like, bro, I'm not even gonna start because there's so many of them compared to today, where you got, so many people, probably even more people, that have a platform, that have a pedestal, that have that freedom and that leverage, right? That aren't controlled like how these people were being controlled, right? And aren't, saying or doing anything um to speak out against shit that's going on in the local community or in the world at large. That's how I feel. um and they call that type of music boring, or even if they make good music or fun music, like I don't know, I just feel like all right, I'm gonna just let this go. But that's how I feel about that. I feel like more people were doing that back then than people are doing it right now, because everything there's a new mindset, with people that get on, or that are trying to get on, you know yeah.
Also started experiencing severe spells of depression. At one point, it got so bad that her family felt like they had no choice but to take her to the hospital. But Franklin wasn't happy when the media got wind of this incident, and she ended up pressuring Jet magazine to run an article that would portray her positively. According to Jet, Franklin held a press conference where she claimed that her hospitalization was caused by acute physical exhaustion due to her heavy schedule. However, Atlantic's Jerry Wexler claimed in Vanity Fair that Franklin frequently experienced depressive fogs that left her unable to do anything unless she really had to. Wexler told Vanity Fair, "I remember going to sit with her at the Drake Hotel and holding her hand and begging her to come to the studio because we had a room full of musicians. And finally she came in and did it. Once you were there, it was beautiful." In 1980, Aretha Franklin signed with Arista Records and ended up staying with them for 27 years. There, she recorded Jump to It, which became her first top 40 hit in
Jump, jump, jump to it. Woo! That's my favorite song by her. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. As a matter of fact, that's my favorite song by her. Bro, what? Luther Vandross produced that entire album, and he fucking killed. Oh my god, that album right there, I got that on my wall. That inspired me in so many ways. And a lot of times when I say things inspire me, it don't mean that, oh, I craft my music to sound like this or to have this sort of influence. I mean, sometimes yes, but when I say inspire me, like it make me get up and go make some music, or it put a fire in me. That's all I'm saying when I say things inspire me. It don't necessarily mean that I copy or I take influence from it. It just put a fire in me. That's what that whole album did for me.
years. Franklin recorded numerous more hits during the 1980s, and in 1987, her album One Lord, One Faith, One Baptism won the Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance. That same year, Franklin made history by becoming the very first woman to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. During her entire career, Franklin recorded 58 albums and released 17 top 10 singles. the latter being more than any other female singer in pop history. Franklin also won 18 Grammys, as well as 3 special Grammy Awards. It was also during this period that Franklin developed a serious fear of flying. During a trip from Atlanta to Detroit, the flight experienced such severe turbulence that Franklin never flew again.
I'm flying down the highway in my custom bus, okay?
Aretha Franklin remained a force to be reckoned with as the 20th century drew to a close. In addition to writing her autobiography, Aretha, From These Roots, she performed at President Bill Clinton's inaugural gala in 1993. 10 years later, President George W. Bush awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. However, during the last decade of her life, Franklin suffered from health problems that were later revealed to be caused by pancreatic cancer. She also struggled against society's obsession with weight, and during her illness, there was frequent speculation on her weight loss, which she said fluctuated due to her medication. But despite her failing health, Franklin was competitive and creative to the end. According to Rolling Stone, Aretha was always listening to the radio and wanting to know what the kids were listening to, who was on the rise and who was on the decline. It kept her going. Although Franklin kept scheduling performances, they often ended up being called off. And in 2017, she announced that she was going to be retiring from touring, although she intended to keep recording. Her final performance was on November 7th, 2017. On August 16th, 2018, Franklin passed away from advanced pancreatic cancer. But her legacy will live on forever. If you or someone you know is struggling with domestic abuse, please call or chat online with the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233.
Damn, that's crazy. Damn, why did it end like that, bro? That ended so sad. Yeah, well, I guess that's life. People live and people die. But their legacy lives on forever. You know, somebody like Aretha Franklin. I mean, oh my gosh, bro. But what's so crazy about a lot of these great artists, right? When you think about Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, Tina Turner, these, I mean, like staggeringly great artists. For some reason, they were all abused. They were all in domestic violence. And while I'm not saying that's good at all, right? I'm not condoning that. I think there's something magical in their ability to turn pain into passion, pain into music that people enjoy, pain into like that transmutation. And I'm just saying like when you have trauma, when you have um things that you go through, as we all go through as human beings on this earth, um you could use that to provide value to the world. Like you could really use that, you know, instead of just trying to make a hot song that you heard about. You know what I mean? Um, and then like as a listener, if you're just a listener, if you don't really make music or listen to music, um, like a lot of these songs, like they come from a real place. Like a lot of people, they have writers and stuff like that. But for the people that whose music that we love so much, a lot of them, their music come from a real place and they went through real stuff. So, you know, they human being just like us, just like us. They bleed just like we bleed. You see what I'm saying? All right, so let me see what else we could find on her. All right, so what did we learn today? We found out that, you know, um, what did we find? Oh, she died of pancreatic cancer. She died in 2018. Um, but we never found out about that thing where, you know, somebody told me that her dad molested her, but I guess that's not true. I guess that's not true. Let's see what else we could find out. Oh, there it is. I was just talking about this. Okay. All right, let's watch this.
We've all heard the rumors. We all know that Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, had a baby when she was only 12 years old. She followed that up by having another one at 14. Her father was C.L. Franklin. C.L. was a pastor famous for his fiery speeches from the pulpit and for his singing.
These pastors be on some dark shit, but I'm gonna let this play. I'm gonna check on my dog real quick. Okay, check on Mono.
And for his womanizing. C.L. was known for messing with preteen girls. Could his desire for young girls have turned towards his own young daughter? In other words, was Aretha Franklin's daddy also her baby daddy? Let's start by taking a look at CL's life before Aretha was born. CL was born Clarence LaVaughn Walker on January 22, 1915 in Mississippi. His father disappeared when he was 4, so he was raised solely by his mother Rachel. His mother at one point married a man named Henry Franklin, so CL's surname changed from Walker to Franklin. Rachel, CL's mother, worshipped him, and her whole world revolved around him. This would continue as he became an adult, which would become an issue later on. By the time he was 19, CL had married Aline Gaines. That didn't last long, because by 21 he had divorced her and married Barbara Siggers. Siggers already had a young son named Vaughn from a previous relationship. When CL was 23, Barbara gave birth to a daughter, Irma. 2 years later, a son, Cecil, was born in 1940. That same year, CL had a baby with a completely different female, Mildred Jennings. We can't call her a woman because she was only 12 years old. The 12-year-old girl had a daughter for CL. Mildred was a member of CL's congregation, and reports indicate that CL preyed on other preteen girls in his church as well. This outside baby was hidden from CL's other children for 18 years until he decided he wanted to reveal it to them. Aretha, named after CL's 2 sisters, was born on March 25, 1942 to CL and Barbara. In 1944, another daughter, Carolyn Ann, was born. Around this time, CL began to gain popularity for his preaching. He was an inspiration to legendary musicians such as B.B. King and Bobby Blue Bland. And he was also a mentor to the Reverend Jesse Jackson. CL was a ladies' man, so his popularity gave him lots of women to choose from. Many of the women in his church were after him, and CL took as many of them up on what they were offering as he could. In the meantime, his relationship with his wife Barbara was stormy. She was aware.
I like to know this guy's sources. I mean, let me see. All right, so let me just say that this is all here. This might not be true. It may or may not, because I don't know. I don't just like to spread shit. Like, I want to know if something is true. Like, he's saying a lot of quote unquote facts, but where he's not saying according to that person or something like that. At least I didn't hear it. I don't know if y'all heard anything, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it looks like people are substantiating this, so I guess it's true.
Aware of CL's cheating. CL wasn't a one-woman man. His wife was a one-man woman. In 1948, Barbara took her son Vaughn and moved back to Buffalo, New York. She left all the children she had with CL. No definitive reason was given for her leaving. Some have speculated that CL made her leave, while others said that Barbara longed to be independent and away from CL's controlling nature. Whatever the case, CL told her that she was free to leave and take her son, but none of the children that were CL's were going with her. Buffalo was only about 200 miles away from Detroit, so the kids would visit Barbara as much as they could. Despite this, 6-year-old Aretha was heartbroken by her mother's leaving, as she was very close to her. Aretha was very withdrawn and shy. While she loved visiting her mother and would have loved to live with her, CL made it clear that that wasn't an option. Tragically, Aretha's mother died of a heart attack when Aretha was only 9. Aretha wouldn't speak a word for weeks afterward. An already introverted Aretha became more so after her mother's death. In her mother's place, Big Mama, CL's mother, and various women from the church were.
That's a lot of shit to go through, bro. At 9, her mom died. and then she's living with this pimp pastor that's molesting and raping and having sex with all of his congregation members. His cult leader. Jeez, bro.
More than willing to look after the children. Of course, many of those church were more angling to hook up with CL. A couple of women would play major roles in Aretha's life. One was a woman named Lola Moore, who all the children grew close to. She was like a second mother to them. And for a while, it seemed like CL might marry her, but it never happened. She eventually left CL, and according to her siblings, Aretha was so devastated she didn't come out of her room for days. Aretha was still mourning the loss of her mother and didn't want to lose this mother figure. As a result, she begged her brother Cecil to plead the kids' case to CL and tell him how much they needed Lola. But Cecil wouldn't do it. He was too fearful of his father to do so. Reflecting on this time, Aretha's sister Carolyn said, quote, "Every little girl needs a mother," unquote, and that even though Big Mama was there, CL was elevated above the children. This is the problem with CL's mother that we referred to earlier. She was focused on her grown son's well-being and doing for him, always putting him ahead of his own small children who still needed to be raised and taught. Carolyn also said that all the children desperately needed a woman to hold them and call them her babies. While no definitive reason was given for Lola's departure, Carolyn suspects it's because CL had started a relationship with Clara Ward. Clara was a popular gospel singer. When most people think of gospel singers from this era, Mahalia Jackson is a popular name that comes to mind. In fact, Jackson was a mentor of Ward's. However, Clara was no Mahalia, at least not when it came to her behavior. While Mahalia reserved her singing strictly for churches and religious ceremonies, Clara often performed in secular clubs as well as churches. The Reverend James Cleveland later referred to CL and Clara as the Ike and Tina Turner of the church. This comparison wasn't just because they were popular entertainers. CL was abusive toward Clara, as no less than B.B. King says he once saw CL, quote, haul off and whacked her so hard across the face she fell to her knees.
Damn. That's fucking crazy.
Unquote. BB says he was too.
Another thing you realize with a lot of these relationships, when it comes to like artists and stuff like that, you see that the way that they grew up, and you know them being in abusive domestic relationships where maybe their dad was hitting on their mother, or their dad was abusing them, beating on them sexually or violently in that way. And then when they become who they become as adults, you see them repeat that cycle and being in abusive relationships with managers, with producers, and with people around them, controlling them. And I wouldn't even say that's artists. I would say like that's just life in general. You see what I'm saying? Like I've seen that in my family. I've seen that in other people around. Seeing that they grow up a certain way, and as soon as they grow up, they either portray would they grow up, or they become a victim to how they grew up. You feel what I'm saying? Like they become a victim. Like the same thing happens again. You know. And I think the reason why that happens is because of unresolved trauma. Not to be a big mental health guru on him, but I'm saying like if you don't recognize and heal from certain loops, certain events that happen in life, they are liable to happen again. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you don't catch it and spot it and be like, okay, I'm not gonna take that direction. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna communicate with that person. I'm not gonna allow this energy into my life, then it's gonna continue to happen. You feel what I'm saying? If like you being born and that energy already been imposed on you, you have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of how do I avoid this from happening and interfering with my life? Because shit, it ain't our fault that we born to abusive fathers or absent fathers or people that abandon us or reject us or do this to us. But we have control over how can I not allow this to become a repeated thing in my life and grow from it? You know what I'm saying? And I ain't over here trying to be no preacher or shit like that. I mean, I'm a victim and probably a portrayal of not these kind of actions, but some form of trauma that I've gone through. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just saying that we should be aware of it.
Too shocked to say anything. The Reverend James Cleveland says he saw CL brutalize Clara on several occasions, and that Clara was surprisingly passive about it. The time she did get mad, he says, CL would send flowers and candy, and they'd start up all over again. While Clara wasn't necessarily a role model for Aretha when it came to being a woman, she most definitely was one as an
Give me one moment.
entertainer. CL would often have parties at his home with famous people such as Sam Cooke, Nat King Cole, and Dinah Washington attending. At these events, Clara would play the piano. A young Aretha would sit in awe at the top of the stairs, watching Clara skillfully play and sing for the entertainment of all the guests. Aretha would study Clara playing and then imitate her playing note by note. She got so good at it that CL would often wake Aretha up to come and play the song called After Hours on the piano. Didn't matter if it was 3 or 4 a.m., he would still do it for the entertainment of his guests. Performing was the one place where Aretha's insecurities and self-doubt disappeared. She was confident in both her singing and piano playing. CL felt that she was good enough to start touring with him on the gospel circuit. Of course, CL was looking out for number one, thinking that Aretha could increase the number of tour days he had. While CL the moneymaker was winning with this arrangement, preteen Aretha was thrust into adulthood well before she would actually become one. Speaking of the gospel circuit, Ray Charles and Billy Preston both called the gospel circuit in the 1950s the sex circus. Why? Ray says that gospel guys were wilder sexually than himself, which in his words was saying something. Ray liked orgies, but he preferred to be the only cat in the room with 2 or 3.
Wait, what? Somebody say orgies? Wait. Wait. Not the blind dude.
Before she would actually become one. Speaking of the gospel circuit, Ray Charles and Billy Preston both called the gospel circuit in the 1950s the sex circus. Why? Ray says that gospel guys were wilder sexually than himself, which in his words was saying something. Ray liked orgies, but he preferred to be the only cat in the room with 2 or 3 chicks. He says the gospel people didn't think that way. In his words, the cats liked it with the cats, and the chicks liked it with the chicks, and nobody minded mixing it up this way or that. Ray went on to say that while some claimed that ministers in the churches weren't aware of these goings on, more than once he'd seen ministers at these parties that wanted a piece of the action. Billy Preston would say that it wasn't the R&B crowd that turned him out, it was the church crowd, where the vibe was wild.
Bro, I'm telling you, as a person that went to a Christian university, Oral Roberts University, I can say that this is 110% facts. It's facts. It's facts. Bro, when I went to USF, which is quote unquote secular, state university, I don't think I was seeing as much wild shit. Like, I mean, of course, like it's the regular college shit, it's a regular party, party, drink, have, people come over, you know what I mean? Like, have a good time, people have sex, co-ed dorms, all this. But when we talk about Christian universities, that's a different animal. It's worse. Bro, I wouldn't even say worse because what regular colleges do is it's regular shit. It's just regular human life. It's just teens, becoming adults and trying to live like adults and expressing themselves and having fun and doing all kinds of celebrating their adulthood. But what you see in Christian universities is a little bit sinister. Let me explain this, right? I'll explain it in the best way possible. What you see at Christian universities are, first of all, people that grew up in Christian households to Christian parents, or that are in the church themselves, just like heavily with a heavy religious background. And a lot of them, most of them, if not all of them, when they go to these Christian universities, um, they use that as an opportunity to break out, but not publicly. Like they are super like they maintain their public image well. You know what I'm saying? Like you see them in the daytime, they never miss church. They never miss a chapel. We used to go to chapel Wednesday and Fridays. They never miss it. They always go. They're always on time. They always participating. They always paying the tithes. Like, they dressing well. You know what I mean? Like they still trying to like fit with the mainstream, pop dressing. Like, however, whatever the zeitgeist is for what people are wearing and stuff, like they're wearing that, but they ain't wearing no obscene shit. I'm talking about women and men, right? And then, but at night, on the weekends, totally different people. Totally different people. And the thing is, they click together, which means they do all this shit amongst one another with other people that are like other PKs, other preachers' kids, like because they don't want the secret to get out. But then, like somebody like me who's open about whatever I do, whatever lifestyle that I live, however I am, and don't give a fuck about none of that religious shit, they look down on that person. Or I guess, they admire that person, but they don't even look down on you. They're jealous. They're jealous because you're able to express yourself. Because I'm able to express myself and be unafraid of that. They're jealous of that. So they sort of like resent you and like you at the same time. They like you because, oh, this guy is cool. He da 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 da. But you would rarely see them sitting at the table with you. Rarely. You feel what I'm saying? Or if they do, it's some cordial shit. But they don't want their image. They care a lot about their public image. But when you see them at night, they are the wildest animals. I'm talking about they drink the craziest. They party the hardest. They fuck the most. They the ones that you hear about when it comes to like the sexual assault, when it comes to abuse, like physical abuse of their spouses or their girlfriends and this and that. They're the ones that you hear about when it comes to these crazy, weird, not heinous, but just weird shit, misdemeanors. They're the ones that do it.
Wide open, and was anything goes. Men on men, women on women. While outside the church, gay men were called sissies, inside the church, a lot of music was created by gay men. James Cleveland was gay.
That's another thing. I got a thought on that. But let this guy finish first.
Preston claimed that even Mahalia Jackson surrounded herself with gay men her entire life. This is what Aretha entered into when she began touring with her father.
As I'm saying, like, now when it comes to like, it's weird when it comes to that stuff, because a lot of people, like in the gospel choirs, especially the music aspect of church and stuff like that, a lot of them are gay. Like you can see, come on, bro. Like if it quacks like a duck, if it talks, walks like a, whatever the saying is, it's a duck, right? You don't have to guess it, bro. You feel what I'm saying? My problem is that a lot of them, bro, like they act like, how do I say this? Like they act like I guess I would say like they don't acknowledge their gay side. They don't acknowledge that aspect of them. And even if the whole where like everybody around them knows that, then they'd be like, oh, this just one of my struggles, or this is something that I'm struggling with, or it's a demon or something like that, right? But then they still don't. But for the life of me, I can't understand how somebody, or how, and I guess you could help me understand it if you understand. So if you see something I don't get, but I don't understand how people could. Thought I heard something. I don't understand how people could practice a religion that doesn't even believe in the existence of them. Like you shouldn't even be a thing in that religion. Like you shouldn't exist. According to that religion, you are a demon, a devil, unholy, nasty. Like the opposite of what they stand for. They don't believe in you, right? But however, so I don't know. And then there's people like that I've seen over here, like they openly embrace their homosexuality and their Christianity. It don't make sense to me. I don't get it. Because clearly those people don't like you, they don't believe in you, they don't believe in what you do, they don't believe in your beliefs, they don't believe in whatever that is, that they don't fuck with it, they don't rock with it, they don't rock with you. You probably walk into church with your lipstick on, makeup on, and they're gonna be like, bro, like, you know what I mean? And I get it. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, they're not progressive, and they still in the old school way of thinking. But for me, I don't think there's no old school way of thinking, bro. Old school, new school, they believe what they believe about you. So how is it that you're subscribing to that? You know, I don't know. Just because you feel like, oh, that's the actual. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Somebody help me understand, please.
He'd put her out of school at 11 years old to best allow her to use and nurture her musical talent. At least that's how he'd explain it. Others would say he exploited Aretha. She became part of what she later called a traveling religious service to earn additional income by soliciting love offerings or money and selling records of CL's sermons. Aretha was happy to skip school, and she was never passionate about it. At that point in her life, she was anxious to become a woman. While Aretha was reluctant to talk about her first pregnancy, according to Etta James, her and Aretha were similar in their exposure to life on the road. Etta says that she can understand why Aretha didn't want to talk about the sexual part of the gospel circuit. Quote, who wants to admit that you're praising the Lord at the 8 p.m. service and servicing some drop-dead, gorgeous hunk of a singer an hour later? Both Aretha and I started out before we were teenagers. We were out of our homes for the first time, and we wanted to experience it all. I wouldn't use the expression sexually active. I'd say sexually overactive. We couldn't wait to give it up, because that's what it meant to be grown. Aretha was as anxious as anyone. I know for a fact that Aretha gave it up often and easily. In that respect, she was like most young singers out there. Unquote. Etta went on to say, quote, I didn't go through the usual growing up stages. One day I was a child and the next day a grown woman. It was strange, and it no doubt effed me up. I'm sure it effed Aretha up too. We were thrown into a world of too much excitement where we were overstimulated way too soon. Unquote. James Cleveland said, quote, Aretha was a mess, unquote, and claims that CL tried his best to rein her in, but that she was flirtatious and that she imitated CL's behavior. Once, when Aretha was 12 and Sam Cooke was 23, she went to his hotel room in Atlanta. When CL learned about this, he went looking for her and banged on Sam's door. He saw the Staple Singers and asked them whether Aretha was with Sam. They played dumb and said they weren't aware of where she was. Aretha later claimed nothing happened. However, in another instance, she visited Sam in his room in New York and insisted their relationship was platonic. Now, who would dispute this? No less than Johnny Taylor, the famous singer. Quote, that's not what Sam told me, he said. Sam said that he enjoyed a lot more than Aretha's voice. Unquote. Johnny also said that Sam didn't need to tell him that because he'd already seen Aretha get down before in different cities on the gospel circuit. Quote, she looked to be very shy and didn't talk all that much. When it came to partying, she was ready to go. Unquote.
That's the life of gospel, if you wanna know. That's not limited to the gospel circuit when it comes to music. That's not limited to the college university experiences I have had. That's just that world. You feel what I'm saying? If you deep enough to know, you're gonna know that, bro. While a lot of them on the surface, and there might be a few good fruits. I ain't trying to bash religion or bash Christianity or like if you would what you believe, and what I believe. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, whatever you do, live your truth. Whatever you do, be your truth, because there are people looking at you and that are being influenced by you. And I also believe that authenticity is one of the highest vibrations that you can emit in this world. It's one of the most attractive things that people would what people would like about you, but like also it's one of the just attractive things in general about a person is their authenticity. The fact that you look unique, you look the way you look, and nobody else looks like you, makes you authentic in a way, and that's what brings certain people, attracted towards you. It might repel sometimes, I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, whatever you do, just live your truth. I don't like the fact that you could spread this message and evangelize, quote unquote, or what I like to say is colonize and spread this thing to this place and far and wide and this and that, and fooling people through music, which is such a spiritual device, right? To get people to believe and do all these different things, and then as soon as the service is done, you're about to go get your dick sucked in the back room. I don't know, bro. That shit's crazy to me.
Irma, Aretha's sister, tried to give CL an out, saying how busy he was on the circuit, preparing for services, giving interviews to newspapers and radio stations, in addition to doing lots of reading. All that made it nearly impossible for him to keep up with and keep track of two precocious daughters. Aretha's sister Carolyn spoke about how Irma and Aretha often fought over the same men. In particular, there was one time that Aretha was certain a guy had a crush on her, while Irma felt that Aretha was trying to steal that same guy from her. Now, in the middle of all this debauchery, young Aretha got pregnant twice and had 2 children before she was 15 years old. What was CL's reaction to these pregnancies? On the first one, Brother Cecil says he thought CL would explode, but he didn't. Quote, he understood that these things happen. He did, however, call us all together to discuss the consequences of having kids at a young age. Unquote. Okay, hold on for a minute. Let's set the scene again for what we're talking about here. We've all been children, so we all know that one of the worst things you could have ever done to your parents as a child was to embarrass them publicly. In Aretha's case, her father was a well-known reverend, and his daughter not only gets pregnant, she also is barely 12 years old when she does. And remember, this is in the 1950s, when girls who were pregnant out of wedlock were sent out of town to a relative's house to avoid the stigma of having that baby around people who knew her. CL was also known as a man that had a fiery temper and was known to put hands on women. And his reaction to his 12-year-old getting pregnant was, quote, to understand that these things happen, unquote. Not saying anything, just an observation. We had to put that in there because we know that some of you were thinking the same thing. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. We left off where CL was giving his children a fatherly talk about avoiding the consequences of having a child at a young age. Sound advice. But if that conversation actually took place, apparently Aretha wasn't listening because she popped up pregnant again a little over a year later. Now,
Man, it's a messy story, man. But I gotta dip out right now. Gotta run to make. But this was good. The troubleshooting was good. It's our first episode, so we got a bit on a rough start. But this is something I want to do as often as I possibly can. I want to get my watch hours up on YouTube, and I also just want to be present as much as possible. I'm reducing my footprint on other platforms and going all in on YouTube just because I just find it to align more with my goals, my style, my music, and a lot of the support that I get is on YouTube as well, for my personal music. So if looking for another thing to watch, check out something on the page. Otherwise, subscribe, and then I'll see you again soon. I'm gonna do this thing where I might create another channel to put clips and this stuff on, like shorts and clips on. I'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, it's good to just be here, to be present. We don't always got to talk about um this type of stuff like gossip and stuff like that. I just want to be inspired. Like, I want to sit down on one of these lives and just watch a movie for real. Like maybe a movie that's dedicated or biopic of an artist, and I don't got to talk the entire stream. We could just sit down and watch it. That's something that I like to do with this series. And there's a lot of more things that I'm tightening up, but For those of you that are here that are watching, that have been on this live, even if you spend a second or a minute or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I appreciate it. And I appreciate your patience, and I want to be here as much as possible. So, anyways, I'm gonna end this, and yeah, let's do this again soon. All right, peace.